My brother Camden was the golden boy of Oakmill. Star quarterback. Full ride to Western Gulf State. Everyone acted like he'd hung the damn moon. And I was just Reed. His backup plan. The insurance policy in case perfection ever cracked. People called me jealous, sensitive, bitter. Even when Cam shoved me down the stairs, smashed my stuff, or left me with bruises from practice accidents. I was told to toughen up. Don't ruin his chances, they'd say. Don't be soft, Reed. But last week, I came home early with a migraine, and walked in on something I couldn't pretend not to see. Screaming. Coming from upstairs. I cracked open Camden's bedroom door. His girlfriend, Eden, was pinned against the wall, his hand around her throat. She wasn't breathing heavy from passion. She was crying. Terrified. Pleading. Before I could even think, I pulled out my phone and hit record. Then I called 911. He was arrested that night. Released by 9 a.m. By 10, I was being dragged out of the house. You've destroyed this family. Mom shrieked, stuffing my clothes into trash bags. You ruined his future, Dad said. You're done here. I tried to tell them. It wasn't Camden's first time hurting Eden. She's manipulating him, Mom hissed. And you helped. So there I was. 17. Sitting on the curb with garbage bags and no place to go. That's when I got a text. It was from Lyra, Eden's older sister. She'd seen the arrest reports. How much do you know? She texted. I didn't even respond. I just dropped the location pin. 20 minutes later, she pulled up in her battered Jeep. No questions. Just a long, quiet drive. When we got to her apartment in Eastfield, she collapsed on the couch, hugging a pillow like it could hold her together. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, she kept repeating. I should have seen it. I should have protected her. I sat there with my garbage bags still at my feet, watching this grown woman break. And then her phone rang. She put it on speaker. It was Eden. He won't stop texting me, she said, voice shaking. He says if I don't drop the charges, he's going to leak our videos, the private ones. Lyra froze. He what? He already sent me 15 messages. I think his parents gave him his phone back. He says, he knows I'm probably with you. I felt my blood go cold. Lyra looked at me. He knows where I live, Eden whispered. I spoke for the first time in what felt like hours. I have the video, I said. The whole thing. Him choking her. Her begging. Everything. Silence on the other end. Then Eden whispered, Reed has a video? Yeah, I confirmed. My voice didn't even shake. I recorded all of it. Lyra started pacing the small apartment. The lawyer said we needed someone on the inside. Someone who could prove the parents knew. Reed, what else do you know? I thought about it. The parties. The girls who left crying. The checks Mom wrote. The way Dad avoided certain questions. The phone calls I overheard. The silence they demanded. I know everything. Lyra opened her laptop. Then let's bury them. I sat in her tiny studio apartment while she clicked through folder after folder. Dates, names, case notes. I started collecting this after my best friend got assaulted by another player on Camden's team, Lyra said. The school buried it. Same law firm your parents use. My phone buzzed. Text from Camden's teammates. Rat, you ruined everything. Career killer. You're dead to us. Then one message caught my eye. From a teammate named Marcus. He accidentally typed. Tell Jessica we know she talked too. Then deleted it. Too late. I had already screenshotted it. I showed Lyra. They're threatening other girls. She added it to the evidence folder immediately. Then, a knock on the door. 3 heavy pounds. We froze. Lyra grabbed a bat from behind the couch. I hit record on my phone. She peeked through the peephole. Tensed. Then relaxed. Lyra cracked the door open, and Eden stumbled inside. Even in the dim apartment light, I could see fresh bruises darkening on her neck, worse than the ones I'd recorded. She was shaking. He came to my dorm, she whispered. Security let him right in. They love him there too. Lyra guided her gently to the couch. I noticed Eden's hand hovering protectively over her stomach. It was small, almost unconscious. When she caught me noticing, she quickly dropped it. We need to get you to a hospital, Lyra said, already reaching for her keys. No. Eden's answer was instant. They'll just call it a domestic dispute. Sweep it away like they always do. She looked up, eyes hollow. The head nurse went to high school with Camden's mom. My phone buzzed. Mom. Against every instinct, I picked up. You have one chance to fix this, she said. No hello. Come home. Tell the police you were mistaken, and we'll forget this happened. I didn't even hesitate. I have it on video, Mom. Silence. Then, we've already changed the locks. The security codes too. Don't even think about coming back for your birth certificate or social. You wanted to destroy this family, she said. Congratulations. She hung up. I stared at the screen. Numb. The realization landed hard. I couldn't get a job, apply to college, get financial aid, not without those documents. Lyra didn't flinch. They're trying to erase you, she said. Make you disappear legally. But I know people. She turned her laptop toward me. Rebecca Chun, civil rights attorney. Lost her daughter to athlete violence at another school. She's been fighting this war for years. I hesitated, then nodded. I have more, I admitted quietly. More evidence. Videos. Conversations I recorded through my bedroom wall. My parents, they paid off Camden's victims. Multiple times. With my college fund. Lyra's eyes widened. You have that on video? I pulled up the hidden folder. 3 clips. 3 girls. 3 payoffs. Each video clear as glass. Mom's voice. This should cover your trouble. But you understand, you can't speak to anyone about this. Lyra stared at the screen, breathless. This changes everything. It proves a pattern. It proves they knew. Eden's phone buzzed again. Then again. She showed us the screen. Texts from different numbers. Threats. Photos of her walking to class that morning. He's using his teammates' phones, she said. I can't block them all. He's on bail, I said. This is a violation of the no contact order. Lyra was already taking screenshots. The judge's son plays ball with him, she muttered. Wanna bet how seriously they'll take that violation? Just then, a news alert popped up on my phone. Local news. The headline hit like a punch. Jealous brother threatens star athlete's future. My school photo was right next to it. The article painted me as unstable, bitter, envious. It quoted my parents, claiming I had a history of trouble and needed professional help. They gave an exclusive, I whispered. They're assassinating my character before this even hits court. Lyra slammed her laptop shut. Then we fight harder. Rebecca can meet us tomorrow. Tonight, we document everything. Every message, every threat, every cover-up. I nodded, still in shock. Then I remembered something. I need to check my bank account. I opened the app. Balance, $0. 00. They drained it, I whispered. My entire college fund, $18,000. Gone. Lyra looked over my shoulder. When I pulled up the history. Multiple withdrawals over the last 2 years. All going to the same law firm. They've been using my college money to buy silence. Eden suddenly stood up and stumbled into the bathroom. We heard retching. Lyra and I exchanged a look. Eden. Lyra called through the door. The door cracked open. Eden stood there, face pale, eyes red. I'm pregnant, she whispered. 8 weeks. I haven't told anyone. I can't deal with this right now. The room went silent. Every breath felt heavier. This changed everything. The danger, the urgency, the stakes. Lyra pulled her into a hug. We're going to protect you. Both of you. My phone buzzed again. Unknown number. I answered without thinking. Reed, this is Coach Williams. His voice was too casual, too friendly. I heard about your situation. Why don't you stop by my office tomorrow? Full ride to any school you want. We can sort this all out. Just need you to remember things differently. My stomach turned. I have the video, Coach. His tone shifted. Cold. You know, your buddy Mike lives on Elm Street, right? And that girl you study with, Sarah? Cute. Would be a shame if they got dragged into all this. I hung up. He's threatening my friends, I said to Lyra. He knows where they live. She was already typing. Documented. Every thread, every call. Rebecca said the feds are starting to look at this stuff under RICO, organized crime. This could be bigger than Camden. The next morning, I woke up to sirens. I ran to the window. Police cars. Moving past. Not stopping. Lyra was already on the phone. Yes, officer. He's here. No, he's not missing. He's not dangerous. She hung up. Your parents filed a missing persons report. Claimed you're mentally unstable. Dangerous. They're trying to get you locked up on a psych hold before trial. She handed me coffee. Calm, but razor focused. We need to be smarter. My phone buzzed again. New notification from my bank. Account frozen. Suspected fraud. The $243 I had left from my part-time job, gone. They're cutting off everything, I said. Every way I have to stand on my own. A knock at the door made us freeze. Lyra peeked through the peephole. I don't recognize her, she whispered. Wait, I said. That's Ms. Martinez. My school counselor. Lyra cracked the door. Ms. Martinez slipped inside, looking over her shoulder. She pressed an envelope into my hand. Your transcripts, she whispered. You'll need them. She hesitated. My daughter, 3 years ago. Same team. I tried to report it. They transferred me. Threatened my job. She squeezed my hand. Be smart. Be safe. But don't stop. Then she was gone. Moments later, Eden's phone buzzed. A new Instagram notification. She opened it and gasped. Camden. Red Solo cup in hand. Laughing at a party. Location tag. Quarterback's house. Posted 10 minutes ago. He's violating bail again, I said. And he doesn't care. Police won't care, Lyra said bitterly, watching the party clip on Eden's phone. They'll claim it's an old video. Say they can't confirm it's recent. That morning, we buckled down. Assault video. Threat screenshots. Payoff recordings. 3 years of buried secrets, all laid bare. Lyra created encrypted backups. 2 copies in the cloud, 1 on a flash drive hidden in a hollowed-out book. We need to eat, she finally said. There's a diner down the block. The walk was quiet. I kept my hoodie up, glancing at every passing car like it might pull over and drag me back. The diner was almost empty. The moment we stepped inside, the owner's eyes landed on me. His expression turned. We don't serve your kind here, he said flatly. I blinked. My kind. Snitches. Rats. Kids who destroy good families. His voice was low, disgusted. His son played with Camden. We turned to leave. As we passed the kitchen, a waitress slipped out the side door and pressed a wrapped sandwich into my hands. Not everyone believes them, she whispered, then disappeared. Back at the apartment, Lyra's phone rang. Yes, Rebecca. We can meet now. 20 minutes later, Rebecca Chin stepped inside. She was younger than I expected. Calm, razor-focused. She carried 2 boxes filled with files. 5 states. 12 schools. Same pattern. Same cover-ups. She looked at me. But you're the first one inside to speak. First with video evidence of the money. We laid everything out. Rebecca took notes, asked sharp questions. Her face grew more serious with every file. This is RICO, she confirmed. An organized effort to protect and enable criminal behavior. Payoffs, threats, media manipulation, it's all connected. Just then, Lyra's phone buzzed. Her rent payment had been declined. What? I had enough. Before she could check, there was a knock. Eden froze. Grandma. The older woman stepped inside. Frail, but determined. She pressed a wad of cash into Lyra's hands. For rent, she said simply. Then she turned to Eden. Your father's wrong. What that boy did to you, it's not okay. I won't let them silence you. Even Eden's family was starting to fracture under the truth. That night, just as exhaustion was settling in, a brick shattered the living room window. Attached was a note. Lyra opened it slowly. Drop charges or drop dead. I stared at the handwriting. My blood ran cold. That's my mom's handwriting. Lyra took photos of everything. Brick, glass, note. Your own mother, she said quietly. Reed, I'm so sorry. Then came pounding at the door. Police. Welfare check. Lyra grabbed her phone, hit record. Don't open, she whispered. They need a warrant. We have reports of a mentally unstable minor at this address. An officer called. We need to ensure everyone's safety. He's fine, Lyra called back. You can see him through the window. I stood by the shattered window, hands up. They tried the handle. Locked. Tried again. Then harder. You need a warrant to enter, Lyra said, steady as ever. They kept pushing for several minutes. Eventually, someone must have pulled rank. The cops left, but not before one muttered, "We'll be back." With paper. We sat in silence. Shards of glass glittered across the floor. 3 teens. 1 law student. And a war against the entire town. Tomorrow we file the federal charges, Rebecca said. Once this hits the federal system, local influence won't matter as much. Eden touched her stomach. Will we be safe until then? No one answered. Because we all knew the truth. We weren't safe. But we also weren't backing down. I glanced at my phone. Threats. Hate. My life, in pieces. All in under 48 hours. But then I looked at the files. The videos. The proof. They'd taken everything. My family. My future. But they made one mistake. They gave me nothing left to lose. The next morning, I woke to the sound of fingers flying across a keyboard. Lyra was already up, building a digital safety net, deepfake detection guides, anonymous upload scripts. My phone lit up. 17 missed calls. Every voicemail the same. Take it back, Reed. Or else. At 7 sharp, Rebecca returned, this time with a federal prosecutor. Sarah Coleman. She didn't waste time. Went through every file like she'd done this before. Too many times. Her verdict? We have enough. But the local corruption's worse than we thought. As they strategized, I spotted movement outside. A white van, parked since sunrise. Inside, someone with a camera. My parents had hired a PI. Eden stumbled from the bathroom again, pale. The nausea was constant now. Between episodes, she showed us new messages. Camden was bypassing his no-contact order using group chats. Adding her, kicking everyone else out. The messages were terrifying. Descriptive. Violent. Ms. Martinez called from a burner phone. I found old complaints, she said. From middle school. They all disappeared after parent-teacher conferences. But I kept copies. Then the deepfake started. My face. Doctored into violent clips. Amateur editing, but good enough to convince the town's Facebook mobs. The comments exploded. Dangerous. Jealous freak. Needs help. My parents gave 3 more interviews. Each more vicious than the last. Lyra went to check the oil in her car and found a tracking device strapped under the chassis. Another layer added to our evidence pile. Rebecca made calls, building support from lawyers outside Oakmill. Then Coach Williams showed up. Not at our door, but outside the complex. Talking to neighbors. Spreading whispers. An hour later, anonymous tip. Police arrived. This time, with a warrant. Rebecca met them at the door, federal badge in hand. The warrant? Based on nothing but hearsay. Signed by a judge whose son played football with Camden. The search was called off. But the message was clear. We'll bury you legally. That night, just after sunset, Marcus showed up. Camden's best friend. He stood at our door, shaking. Couldn't even meet my eyes. Marcus stood in the doorway, eyes downcast, fingers trembling as he passed Lyra a USB drive. I can't live with it anymore, he whispered. Then he left before any of us could say a word. We plugged in the drive. Dozens of videos. Some blurry, some with perfect clarity. Camden's trophies. Some of the girls weren't even conscious. My stomach turned. In one, my mom was clearly heard coaching Camden through what to say if any of them ever came forward. In another, my dad was calmly handing cash to a crying girl, whispering about protecting the family name. Eden collapsed into Lyra's arms. We thought we'd seen the worst of it. We were wrong. The stress triggered painful cramps. We rushed her to the ER. Thankfully, the doctor on call wasn't one of the local football fanatics. He documented everything. Bruises. Emotional trauma. Evidence of long-term abuse going back months. While we were still in the hospital, Lyra got an eviction notice. Her landlord had suddenly discovered lease violations. The handwriting? Same as the fake paperwork from earlier. This was coordinated. A full-scale attempt to isolate us. When we returned, Marcus's car was still in the lot. A note left on his windshield. I stayed quiet while Camden hurt them. All of them. I'm sorry. Inside his car was his phone. It held text chains, proof of how the team covered everything up. How the coaches and players coached each other on what to say, what to delete, who to intimidate. The next morning, Marcus was found dead in his apartment. They called it suicide. But the timing? Too perfect. Too clean. His confession and data became part of our growing case. That same day, 7 more girls contacted Rebecca. They were ready to speak up, because of Marcus. Then my grandmother called. She was crying. My parents had told the extended family that I was having a mental breakdown, that I was jealous of Camden's success, and made it all up. She wanted to believe me, but she was drowning in lies. Meanwhile, Camden violated bail again, showing up at Eden's job. Security cameras caught everything. He claimed it was a coincidence. The judge gave him a verbal warning. Rebecca and Coleman uncovered more. Financial records. Payments structured through my dad's company. Labeled as consulting fees, but clearly hush money. Victim settlements hidden as business write-offs. Tax fraud. Wire fraud. Conspiracy. Their house had been refinanced 3 times to clean up Camden's mess. Then the PR firm kicked in. A hashtag trended locally. Hashtag stand with Camden. They painted him as a troubled kid struggling with addiction. No mention of what kind. My supposed mental instability became their weapon. Then Eden's dad called. He'd seen the PR campaign and believed every word. You're ruining a good kid's life over a misunderstanding. Even with the bruises. Even with the footage. Boys will be boys, he said. That broke something in Eden that even Camden hadn't. Then came the moment we'd been working toward. Federal RICO charges were officially filed. Outside the courthouse, reporters, protesters, and angry fans swarmed. Half the town still treated Camden like a hero. The other half treated me like a traitor. We snuck in through a side entrance, but it didn't matter. Camden was waiting. He lunged, landed a punch before anyone could react. 2 ribs, broken. Security pulled him off, but it was too late. It was all caught on camera. His bail was revoked. Temporarily. Another judge. Another favor. He walked free by morning. The hospital staff whispered stories of their own. One nurse's daughter had her arm broken by Camden years earlier. Another shared how complaints just disappeared. The more we looked, the deeper it went. Rebecca's team raided my parents' house. In my dad's office, a hidden safe. Inside, detailed ledgers of every payoff. Each victim, each amount, each lawyer, each NDA. Money that should have been my college fund, gone, buying silence. It went back to when Camden was 13. The school board erupted when the news broke. Furious parents demanded to know how many girls were hurt, how many futures were sacrificed for a game. The superintendent quit on the spot. The head coach, medical leave. Then, Eden lost the baby. The stress of prepping her testimony pushed her body too far. Camden found out, somehow, and texted one of his teammates. Guess the problem solved itself. That message leaked within hours. Everything changed. The public finally saw him for who he was. The University of Alabama formally revoked his scholarship. NFL recruiters quietly ghosted him. His future, gone. My parents blame me for everything. Their marriage cracked under pressure. On the courthouse steps, my mom screamed at my dad for raising a monster. He shouted back about her affairs with school boosters. Their filth went public. A forensic accountant found booster money funneled through fake companies. Player families bribed into silence. Even injuries during practice buried for the sake of stats. Camden was the rotten center of a system built to protect him. The case went bigger than us. Coleman's investigation spread across states. Same law firm. Same tactics. Same ruined lives. It all started with one video. Mrs. Davies, my English teacher, offered me her spare room when Lyra was forced to leave her apartment. The school threatened her job. She let me in anyway. Some things matter more than a paycheck, she said. That act of kindness sparked others. More teachers. More former players. More survivors. A filmmaker from New York contacted us. She'd been following stories like ours. She wanted us to own our story. Eden agreed. We tell it. Our way. Not theirs. Before court, Camden posted a manifesto online, blaming women, naming targets. The FBI added terroristic threat charges. His supporters screamed, free speech. We called it what it was, evidence. The feds froze my parents' assets. The house. The cars. The accounts paid for in blood and silence. Gone. Even their lawyer walked when they couldn't pay anymore. They had to settle for court-appointed defense. Coleman kept digging. Other schools. Other cover-ups. Our case became a blueprint to dismantle this sickness, this athletic protection racket. Then the middle school teacher who first flagged Camden's behavior came forward. She'd been transferred, threatened, silenced. But she had kept records. Copies. And her documents showed this all began earlier than any of us knew. Now, Eden is in trauma recovery. She's got a long road ahead. But she isn't alone anymore. Eden's therapist arranged for her testimony to be delivered via secure video link. Her voice was still shaky, but her resolve never wavered. Even in the middle of healing, she was determined to face Camden in court and end this. The town had fully fractured by then. Businesses picked sides. The diner that had thrown me out, it lost half its customers. The waitress who slipped me that sandwich on our first day, she started a support fund for local survivors. Some bridges in our town would never be rebuilt. And maybe they shouldn't be. As the investigation widened, more players were arrested. Each arrest brought new girls forward. The numbers became staggering. So many had suffered in silence, just to protect Friday night lights. I studied for my GED at Miss Davies' kitchen table. College still felt distant, but education still mattered. Lyra helped me apply to schools far away, where the name Reed meant nothing, where I could just start over. The federal trial date was set. Camden was looking at 25 years. My parents, 10 each, conspiracy, fraud. The coach, the boosters, the whole machine. They all faced justice. But it didn't feel like victory. Not really. Too much had been lost. Lyra began adoption proceedings. She was barely 21, but she wanted to give me something I hadn't had in a long time, a real family. The paperwork became something like hope. I returned home once, to the ruins of what used to be my life. My parents had thrown everything into the dumpster. Old photo albums, my grandmother's quilt, childhood drawings. All garbage to them now. I pulled out what I could. Some things are worth saving. The threats kept coming, but they felt hollow. Camden's support system had collapsed. Even his teammates started distancing themselves when the NFL blacklisted the entire program. Guilt by association. Rebecca announced she was running for state attorney general. Her campaign focused on reforming how athletic programs handled assault cases. Our case gave her a platform, and she was ready to fight. The night before jury selection, I was back in Miss Davies' kitchen, rereading GED prep flashcards. Lyra texted updates from her lawyer. Eden sent me a heart emoji. That was enough. We'd made it this far. Tomorrow we'd testify. Relive it all in front of strangers. But tonight, I had a roof over my head. I had people who believed me. And I had proof. More than enough to speak for every silenced voice before me. They'd taken everything. My family, my future, my name. But they gave me something in return. The power to stop them from doing it to anyone else. And that was worth the wreckage. The courtroom was full when I entered for Camden's sentencing. Coleman had warned me what it would feel like. Still, seeing Camden shackled in that orange jumpsuit, it hit hard. The judge read the charges slowly, one after another. When he finally spoke the sentence, 25 years, the room felt still. Camden snapped. He lunged toward me, screaming, "You're dead when I get out." The bailiffs dragged him to the floor. The judge added 5 more years for the outburst. My parents sat in the back, expressionless. Hollow. They had both taken plea deals. 10 years each. Outside, the courthouse steps were swarmed with reporters. Rebecca handled them, while Coleman ushered us into a waiting car. The civil suits would begin next week. The university was already scrambling to settle. $50 million would be divided among 12 confirmed victims. It wouldn't fix the damage, but it could fund therapy. It could fund new lives. Back at Miss Davies's house, everything felt different. The same streets, the same sky, but I knew I'd be gone soon. I'd received a scholarship through a national advocacy group. It would pay for my first year at a small school 3 states away, a place where I could just be a freshman. Nothing more. That night, I drove past my old house one last time. A foreclosure sign leaned in the lawn. A dumpster sat in the driveway, full of my parents' lies. And inside it, half buried, was that same quilt from my childhood. I pulled it out and shook off the dust. Some things you don't leave behind. The high school announced new mandatory consent training, anonymous reporting systems. They named the reform program after Marcus, whose last act had brought so many forward. His parents attended the ceremony. Their grief, mixed with pride. More arrests followed. Assistant coaches, boosters, even the team doctor who falsified medical reports. Coleman's team kept uncovering more. The entire system was infected. I took my GED exam in a quiet room at the community college. The proctor, an older woman who'd followed the case, squeezed my shoulder when I turned it in. 3 hours later, the results came in. I passed. High scores. Miss Davies baked a cake. Lyra started helping me pack. The documentary crew filmed interviews over 3 days. True to their promise, we reviewed every cut. Eden recorded her part via video call from the recovery center. Her voice was stronger now, steadier. The documentary would premiere next year. Only in cities we didn't live in. That was the deal. My mom sent a letter from prison. 6 pages. All blame and bitterness. I read it once and never again. My dad sent a letter too, full of excuses and talk of writing a book. No publisher would touch it. Some people never learn. On my 18th birthday, Lyra's adoption petition was finalized. The same judge who once protected Camden had been replaced. This one understood that real families are chosen. When the gavel dropped, I had a new last name. A new beginning. Our town stayed split. Some shops still displayed Camden's jersey in the windows. But others? Others had started weekly victim support meetings. That diner that once refused to serve me closed for good. The waitress who helped me opened a small cafe of her own and only hired survivors. Then, 2 weeks before I left for college, Coleman's office called. Camden was gone. Another inmate. His sister had been one of the early victims, her case buried years ago. They found Camden in his cell during morning count. I felt nothing. No sadness. No joy. Just stillness. His story was over. Ours was still being written. My grandmother passed along a message. My mother wanted to meet. I agreed one time. Neutral ground. 10 minutes in, she launched into how all of this could have been avoided if I had just kept quiet. If I had handled it privately. Some people never change. I walked out. Eden graduated from her treatment program and started working with a nonprofit supporting assault survivors. She messaged me once. Thank you for saving my life. I told her the truth. She saved herself. We stayed in touch, mostly through Lyra. Something like a friendship built on shared trauma and survival. Not perfect, but real. The FBI kept expanding their investigation. Other schools, other towns. Our case became the blueprint for exposing athletic protection networks across the country. Coleman still called sometimes. Quick updates. Nothing that would drag me back in. I appreciated that. Boundaries mattered. Rebecca Chin won her campaign for state attorney general. Her first act in office. Forming a task force on athletic accountability. She invited me to testify. I said no. My part in this story was over. Others could carry it forward now. The night before I left for college, I sat in Miss Davies's kitchen one last time. She'd been more of a parent than either of my biological ones ever had. Lyra showed up with boxes and bubble wrap, ready to drive me to campus in the morning. We packed and talked about everything we'd survived. From the night of the brick, to the courtroom, to adoption. Freshman orientation included sessions on Title IX, trauma-informed care, and reporting systems. No one there knew my name. And that was exactly how I wanted it. Just another 18-year-old with a backpack and cafeteria complaints. 3 years passed. I majored in social work, minored in legal studies. Lyra visited every month, bringing updates on Eden's advocacy work and the federal cases still unfolding. More arrests, more guilty pleas, more victims stepping into the light. The system wasn't fixed, but it was cracking. Law school felt like the next step, not for prestige or power, but for tools. I focused on Title IX compliance and victim advocacy. My first case, a college basketball program covering up assaults. Different jersey, same sickness. I knew exactly how to break their wall of silence. Years passed. A small wedding in Miss Davies's backyard. 20 people. Lyra walked me down the aisle. Eden stood as one of my groom's people. No invite from my parents. Some bridges are better burned. My partner knew everything. Loved me anyway. Case after case followed. Same patterns. Same predators. Same communities choosing trophies over truth. I didn't chase headlines. Helping one survivor find their voice was worth more than recognition. Then, one Tuesday, I got the call. The Supreme Court had agreed to hear arguments in a case challenging university liability in athletic assault cover-ups. They wanted me as co-counsel. Not because of my name. Not because of my past. But because I knew exactly how these systems worked and how to dismantle them. Standing before the justices, I thought of that 17-year-old version of me, sitting on a curb with garbage bags. The night Lyra opened her door. Marcus's last act of courage. Eden's quiet strength. My argument was calm, precise, built on precedent, not pain. No theatrics, just facts. No tears, just justice. The ruling came months later. Universities could be held legally responsible for systematic cover-ups. Athletic departments that protected predators, now they'd face consequences. It wasn't a perfect fix, but it was a beginning. The night the decision dropped, I flew home. Lyra picked me up from the airport. Her hair had gone gray, but her fire hadn't dimmed. We drove through Oak Mill, past the high school where Marcus's memorial stood next to a wall of new policies that actually protected kids, past the courthouse where everything started, past the apartment where she first gave me a place to sleep. Eden stopped by with her partner and daughter. We didn't talk about the case. We didn't have to. We just existed, together. A family built from brokenness. My phone buzzed with messages. Reporters. Colleagues. Congratulations. I silenced it. Tomorrow would bring new victims, new systems to challenge, new battles to fight. But tonight was for Lyra, for Eden, for Marcus, for Miss Davies, for the ones who chose to believe me when it cost them something. Justice doesn't always roar. Sometimes it whispers, grows roots, and waits. Sometimes it's just the quiet decision to live a good life, despite what they did to you. They took everything that made me a son, but I found something stronger. A purpose, a family, a future, and that was enough.